Hello and welcome back to the channel, everybody. I hope you're all okay. I'm gonna just be having a chat today about, first of all, my mental health at the moment and like a little update, what I'm struggling with, how I'm feeling, what I'm thinking, and then also how I'm managing that. Because I think all of the things that I'm doing to manage the way that I feel at the moment are quite transferable things and things that maybe you can do that would be helpful. And so hopefully there's a little bit of something that you can take away that would maybe help you in the future or now if you're struggling. Apologies if you can hear the sound of the wind because it's really windy, and I don't know if anyone else gets affected by the weather, but I feel really unsettled when it's windy. I don't know what that's about, but I feel very like tense and not quite right within myself when the wind is really powerful. Anyway, that's one thing I'm struggling with at the moment, but I hope you're okay anyway, and hopefully some of these things will help you. But to start off with me at the moment, I guess the main thing that I am conscious of or stressed out about at the moment is this mole that I've had taken off. So I had a mole on my shin, on my left leg, and it's always been there. I've always had it, but I check my moles quite regularly because I'm quite an anxious person and I'm just conscious of them being okay. And the one on my shin had a scab on it and I hadn't knocked it. Like, and some people were like, well, surely you might have just knocked it without knowing. No, I just would know. And I didn't knock it, I didn't hit it on anything. So it had a scab. And then the scab fell off, and then the mole was different colors. So it's always been just a plain, like just dark brown color. But it had like white patches, it had darker brown patches. It was just like a speckledy, just didn't look right. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna go to the doctor. And I did the like online form thing, and then they saw me within 2 hours. And then the guy was like, yeah, I'll just refer you to go and get it checked. So then I had a referral letter, and then I went to go and get it checked. And basically, she was like, we'll just take it off. And we'll take off like the skin around it, the skin underneath it, and then we'll go and get it tested. And then you'll get the results back, which obviously stressed me out because in my head, I was like, they'll either take it off or they'll say it's fine. So them taking it off is a good thing, but it's also stressful because why wouldn't you be stressed about that? And I get stressed about everything. So it felt stressful. Anyway, so I had it taken off. It's been nearly 2 weeks since I had it taken off. So it's just in the back of my mind that that is going on. Like at some point I will get a phone call and it will either be fine or it won't be fine. But it's still, even though I'm not that stressed about the actual thing, I am stressed because I'm waiting for something and it's in the background, which is taking up some of my capacity. And that also means because I've technically had an operation, it means I can't exercise for 2 weeks, which has actually been one of the hardest things because I exercise in multiple different forms every day. So without exercise, I go a little bit stir crazy. And it's more the mental side of it than it is the physical side of it. I don't feel right if I don't exercise. So obviously being forced not to exercise is having an effect on my mental health. I feel like my mood is worse. I feel more anxious and more stressed about the thing that is stressing me out anyway. So that's just something that is irritating me and is not making me feel fantastic. So that's kind of one thing. And then there's other things that are like people not being very well, or there's other like family things and like dog things, and like Mina wasn't very well. It just feels like there's lots of little stresses that are just kind of creeping in. And the thing to understand with that is it may be a very small stress, but if you have lots of small stresses built on top of each other, your overall stress levels will be higher and your capacity to deal with things will be less. So smaller things will like tip you over the edge because you're already a little bit stressed. So that's important to remember. Things like my car, like needed a new battery because it just stopped, just didn't turn on, and then I got a flat tire yesterday. That was stressful. Like, and it's not a big deal, but it is still like stress. It still feels like stress and it's still stressful, and it just means my capacity for everything else is not great, which means, a lot of my work is creative, and when I'm stressed I don't have the same amount of creativity to make videos or to make TikToks or film my meditations and all that kind of stuff. So that makes me feel worse because I don't feel as productive because my creativity is low, because I don't have enough brain space for the creative side, because my brain space is going on imagining worst case scenario with all of the things that I'm stressed about. So it just kind of gets into a bit of a cycle. And I feel like that's the stage that I'm in at the moment. So it's all relatively fine. I just feel like my capacity is lower, my stress is higher, which means I need to be more conscious of how I'm going about day to day and prioritizing what is going to give me a bit more capacity. And those things are my stress response is always to keep things the same and to keep things as normal and the same and continuous as possible. So I will wear the same clothes, I will eat the same foods. I have OCD anyway, but all of my routines will be much more strict. I'll be much more conscious of making sure that I'm doing all my routines correctly. So I try and keep everything around me the same, because that makes me feel more in control and that makes me feel safe, which is fine as a coping mechanism. But that can also get yourself into a very sort of rigid mental state. And if you don't have mental flexibility, you do get into this state which isn't productive or healthy or very good for you. So having flexibility where you can and where is comfortable. So like planning the foods that I'm going to eat, for example, because when I get stressed, I get really bad at eating. And if I'm stressed or anxious, I kind of feel a bit sick and I don't feel like eating. So I eat less, which then means my ability to deal with things is less because I'm not fueling myself in the correct way. And that's a bad thing. But if I plan what I'm going to eat and if I meal prep stuff, or like yesterday, I bought a load of like salad vegetables and I just cut them all up and put them in a Tupperware so that I can just spoon just like vegetables out of a Tupperware, and that is that. It's just because it's there, I'll eat it. But if it's not there, I wouldn't cut them all up individually for each meal, if that makes sense. So that kind of stuff, and just having food that I know is easy to cook and quick to cook, but is still fuel. It's very good fuel for your body. It's not just shitty food. So that has been really helping. And obviously exercise, when I'm allowed to exercise next week, is going to be massive, and I'm going to really prioritize doing that, and I'm going to set my routine back up to make sure that all of the exercise that I want to do and I feel like is necessary is sort of programmed into every day, because that is what makes me feel good. That's what I'm used to. That's what I need in a physical and mental way. And then the other thing that I have been sort of toying with is how to structure my day, because I quite often feel guilty for not doing enough, or feel like I haven't been productive, or that's quite a common theme for me. So, but then I was thinking about it, and because I'm technically self employed and I work from home quite a lot of the time, my structure is quite different from a typical like 9 till 5 in the office, for example. So sometimes I will have a PT client in the morning. I will come back, I will walk the dog, and then I will have like work to do in the day, like all my different avenues of work, all the different work that I do, that will get done in the day. And then in the evening, I will have clients again, and then I will go out to the gym and train after that. So it's like gym in the morning, work in the day at home, gym in the evening, and then train in the gym in the evening. So actually, sometimes I'm not getting home till like 9:30 at night, and then it's like time to go to bed. So, but then if I sit down in the afternoon and like have a chill or just have a break, I'm like, you can't sit down in the middle of the afternoon because it's like the work day. And I'm like, actually, but some people would finish at 5 and come home and then they'd sit down. But I would like leave the house at 5 p.m. and then go out and then not be back till 10. And then I'm not sitting down. So actually, if you want to sit down in the afternoon, sit down in the afternoon, which I guess that is a specific thing, but you could translate that to your life and how that would work for you. But just putting together a schedule that allows time for rest, because that's very important. You can't work for the entire day, every single day. That's not okay. You need time for rest. You need that designated time, but you need to be able to put it in a way that doesn't make you feel guilty for doing it. So actually, for me, telling myself that you're allowed to sit down in the afternoon has been very helpful. So structuring your day in a way that you feel productive and you feel good, but that also allows time for rest in a way that feels okay for you is important. And then planning stuff in to do, having like future plans, because I struggle when I don't have things scheduled in. I feel like I don't really know what I'm doing and there's nothing to look forward to and that kind of stuff. So if I have stuff that is planned, like I messaged one of my friends that lives up north and I was like, give me a weekend that you're free and I will come up and see you. And we have now booked that in the diary for April. And it's like a month away, but it's in the diary and it's there. And I'm excited about that. So, doing that kind of stuff and giving yourself things to look forward to so you don't just feel like you're on a hamster wheel or your Groundhog Day or you're just being miserable with everything around you. You need to break it up into different fun, good, social, exciting activities. And then in terms of those kinds of activities, doing things which again are social, that get you out of your head, that get you into other people's heads, because I always find if I get caught up in what I'm thinking and all of my emotion, one of the best things that I do is speak to other people and talk to them about their day, because then I'm in their head and I'm not in my head, and that gives me a sort of break. So that's really helpful to have social and just contact with other human beings, basically, which I think is really important, especially if you are self employed or in the day you don't tend to spend the day with a lot of people. So, they're all the things that I am kind of consciously making an effort for. And I put a similar thing on TikTok the other day, and someone was like, that sounds exhausting. It sounds like so much work. I'm like, it's exhausting to not have that, to be honest. I feel like that is a managing all of that kind of stuff is a price that I'm willing to pay because it makes me feel better. So it doesn't actually feel like it's, sometimes it does feel like it's exhausting, to be honest, but I would rather do that and sort of make the effort, because you do have to make the effort to make yourself feel better and to manage your stress. So I would rather make the effort than make no effort and just feel miserable and not feel okay. So they're all of the things that I do. Let me know if there are anything specific that you do and leave a comment so that I can read them and get some ideas, because I'm always looking for things to make myself feel better, to be honest. And I hope you're doing okay. And if you're not, feel free to comment, message me anytime, message me on TikTok. It's probably better to message me on Instagram because TikTok messages get a little bit lost, but on Instagram, I usually see them. And yeah, I hope you have a good rest of your day. Well done for doing what you're doing, and I will see you very soon.